What if the first sign of dementia wasn't memory loss, but a feeling you couldn't explain? A sensation so strange, it made you question your own body. You try to ignore it. You tell yourself it's stress, or age, or nothing at all. But deep down, something feels wrong. Because your brain is changing, and it's not staying silent. For many seniors, these bizarre physical sensations show up years before anyone suspects dementia. Doctors often mislabel them as anxiety, circulation issues, or even imagination. But mounting evidence now links these phantom sensations to early cognitive decline. And if you're not paying attention, you'll miss the moment the mind begins to slip. This video will show you the 9 most disturbing ghost sensations seniors report before they're diagnosed with dementia, and why they must never be ignored. Let's begin with number 1, feeling of wetness or leaking on skin. It started 3 years before her diagnosis of early-onset Alzheimer's at age 76. Bernice kept insisting. Her shirt was damp, checking under her arms, wiping her back, even changing clothes midday. Her daughter thought it was just sensitivity or anxiety, but Bernice became fixated. One afternoon, she said she felt water dripping down her leg while sitting in a dry chair. There was nothing there. That eerie sensation became more frequent, and eventually, so did the memory lapses. She forgot birthdays, misplaced money, and lost track of appointments, all within a year. A clinical study linked this specific form of tactile hallucination to early dementia. When the brain's sensory cortex begins misfiring, it can falsely interpret normal signals, creating sensations like dripping, leaking, or phantom dampness. These false alarms often show up years before cognitive symptoms become obvious, but families rarely connect them to brain decline. If someone keeps feeling wetness where there is none, it may be the nervous system's first silent cry for help. Number 2, phantom pressure, like being held or restrained. 2 years before he was diagnosed with vascular dementia at 78, Harold began saying it felt like something was pushing on his chest. At night, he described it as a weight pinning him down. During the day, he'd grip his arm and whisper, "It's back again." Doctors ruled out heart issues, and tests came back normal, but the sensation kept returning. Later, he began confusing names, skipping bills, and once even left the oven on all night. That invisible pressure had been the earliest sign. Research confirms that dementia can affect how the body processes physical signals, creating a false sense of being held, squeezed, or restrained. These sensations are often brushed off as anxiety or sleep problems, but when they recur alongside subtle memory changes, they may point to deeper brain dysfunction. If someone keeps describing a gripping pressure on their body with no physical cause, it may be a warning sign hiding in plain sight. Number 3, ghost taps or touches. At 74, Eloise would suddenly turn her head and ask, "Did you just tap me?" But no one had. It started happening a year before she was diagnosed with mixed dementia, and her family thought she was joking. She claimed she felt someone tug her sleeve or lightly tap her back, even while sitting alone. At first, it was funny, but months later, she began losing the thread of conversations, forgetting familiar faces and walking into rooms unsure why she was there. Scientists found that false touch sensations, especially on the arms, shoulders, or back, may come from the brain misfiring as dementia develops. These often begin subtly and increase over time, even before obvious memory loss sets in. When someone repeatedly feels touches that aren't real, it may be the brain's early warning that something is starting to unravel. Number 4, crawling sensation of invisible bugs. Lorna, 72, kept scratching her arms and legs, saying it felt like ants were crawling under her skin. Her doctor checked for rashes, allergies, and even neuropathy, but found nothing. That odd sensation lasted for months before the rest of the signs appeared. One day, she called her son in a panic because she couldn't remember how to work the microwave. A year later, she was officially diagnosed with early-stage Alzheimer's. Studies indicate that these phantom crawling sensations are more common than many realize, especially in the early stages of cognitive decline. The brain begins confusing ordinary nerve signals, leading to feelings of itching, crawling, or tiny movements under the skin. If they start scratching at things no one else can see, it might not be their skin that's reacting. It could be the brain. Number 5. Internal trembling or humming. 3 years before his diagnosis of Lewy body dementia at age 77, Wallace began describing something strange. He said he felt a low vibration, like a hum, deep inside his chest or legs. No one could feel it but him. He told his wife it felt like a cell phone was buzzing inside his body. Doctors checked his heart, his nerves, and even ran scans, but nothing explained it. By the time the memory loss appeared, the trembling had been there for nearly 2 years. Experts report that some dementia cases involve a rare internal trembling sensation, even when muscles and nerves are normal. This internal buzzing is often misdiagnosed or dismissed as stress, but it can signal the earliest shifts in how the brain is regulating the body. When someone describes a constant hum or vibration that no one else can feel, it's time to start looking deeper. Number 6. Cold spots that appear out of nowhere. 4 years before his diagnosis of Alzheimer's, Sylvester, 75, began complaining about cold patches on his skin. Even during summer, he'd rub his forearms, layer up indoors, and once even wrapped a scarf around his neck at a 4th of July barbecue. His doctor found nothing wrong with circulation or nerves. At first, his family laughed it off, until he began repeating himself constantly and forgetting close relatives' names. Experts report that dementia can cause the brain to misinterpret normal temperature signals. Instead of feeling warm air, the person might sense sudden chills or icy spots. These cold flashes often come and go without warning and may show up long before memory issues do. If someone keeps feeling cold in just one spot when nothing explains it, their brain might be sending false signals as it begins to change. Number 7. Falling or floating out of the body. It began as a strange complaint for Candace, 71. She said she felt like her body was falling through the couch or drifting out of her skin. Her son thought she meant vertigo, but she insisted it wasn't dizziness. It was like slipping away. 2 years later, she started forgetting her own phone number, misplacing medications, and eventually received a diagnosis of early-onset Alzheimer's. A medical review found that this sensation of floating or falling, especially when fully still, may come from confusion between motion and body awareness. It's a subtle but significant sign that the brain is struggling to stay grounded in reality. When someone describes their body slipping, sinking, or floating for no reason, it may not be balance. It could be the brain's sense of self starting to fade. Number 8. Electric zaps or body buzzing. Joyce, 78, was diagnosed with mixed dementia 1 year after a series of strange sensations began affecting her. She described it as a soft shock, a buzzing under her skin, like something was vibrating inside her spine. Her doctor tested her nerves and ruled out neuropathy, but the sensation kept coming back, and so did other changes. She circled the parking lot for half an hour, walked away mid-conversation, and burned food to ash without realizing she had even started cooking. Studies suggest that these phantom buzzing sensations may stem from disrupted communication between the brain and peripheral nerves. Even when tests show nothing physically wrong, the perception is very real, and often one of the earliest signs that the brain's internal wiring is misfiring. If someone keeps describing zaps, pulses, or inner vibrations, it may be time to look beyond the surface. Number 9. tugging or pulling at clothes or limbs. 3 years before his diagnosis of Alzheimer's, Norris kept adjusting his sleeves and yanking at his pant legs. He said it felt like someone was tugging on him, or that his clothes didn't sit right. His family assumed it was just irritation, or maybe a laundry issue, but by age 78, the confusion had started. He forgot his wife's name, left food in the microwave for days, and walked into the backyard without knowing why. Research suggests that unusual pulling sensations or feeling like something's grabbing the skin, without any real cause, may reflect how dementia disrupts the brain's sense of touch and body awareness. These feelings are rarely mentioned, but often mark the beginning of deeper cognitive change. When someone feels pulled or touched by their clothes, it could be the brain, not the fabric, that's shifting. These ghost sensations may seem strange, even harmless, but for many, they're at the first signs the brain is starting to change, quietly, and long before memory fades. If you've noticed any of these signs in someone you care about, don't ignore them. The earlier you recognize them, the sooner you can take action.
And there you have it. What are your thoughts? Next, dive into this video for more essential tips to transform your health and help you thrive. You're going to love it. Thanks for watching Healthy End, and we'll see you there.